that just gets him those couple of extra percentage points in terms of win rate against the weapon rogue. And like you say, I'm super excited to see how it can work out, because this is, despite that we are down towards the bottom end of Division B, in my opinion, two of the best players that we have here in Asia Pacific.
I completely agree. Especially last season, we got to see Alutemu and Posesi shining at their best. Posesi, honestly, I don't think that he's been playing badly so far whenever we've seen him on stream. It's just kind of been something not adding up, and we will get to see a mage in action, although it's not the turtle mage just yet. Alutemu is an apprentice keeper, my man!
Finally! Order has been restored in the world. Everything makes sense once again. I do think against Weapon Rogue, it's probably the kind of matchup where maybe you're not throwing it down on turn 2, but you're not getting much value out of it. It's really just to try and tempo out some of these cheap spells, and with a Wand Maker to complement it perfectly, this looks like a very premium start for Alutemu.
It does indeed, but for Posesi with the top deck of a 1-drop, he also has the good stuff. Spy Mistress into coin, Self-Sharpening Sword, eventually getting the cutting class down for cheap. I think both players have a great shot at this. But the sword right on this turn is a little bit awkward because it doesn't give Posesi immediately a good target to sink into.
Interesting. Yeah, because obviously you're afraid of what the Wand Maker would have given, because Arcane Missiles and Devolving Missiles are the two scary ones here. In which case, you could just go for Sneaky Delinquent and trade into the lab partner, but at the same time, every point of damage you can get to face in the matchup is a really big deal.
Yeah, it's really tough. Honestly, I am still looking at Self-Sharpening Sword that turn just so you can start buffing it up and get the cutting class sooner. But I can respect the line from Posesi because a lot of the time when Mage doesn't have anything to target, their turns get slowed down significantly. Alutemu's list, as with many tempo mages these days, are cutting the firebrands. Oh,
this is
huge.
Yeah, starting to heat up already. Posesi has the ability to clear on board and has plenty of draw, plenty of damage to follow up. But Alutemu, with the pickup of Mana Cyclone, means that the Elemental Allies side quest that was generated has gone from garbage to pretty good. It's very possible that he can just chain Mana Cyclone into Mana Giant on 2 subsequent turns here.
Oh my gosh,
Whoa.
This is the pop-off turn. For Posesi, I want to note that I like the hesitation on attacking with his stealth guy because, again, not giving Mage any targets is a big deal, but he realizes that now he's ahead on board, that you might as well just cash in the damage while you can. Oh, Barrier? But Learn Draconic is another spell right now off of Cyclone, and another giant cheapening. It's really close. I think I would lean towards side quest here.
I think so too, because at the moment, with Learn Draconic and Elemental Allies, Giant goes down to costing 6, so you still need something extra for it to be played next turn, and you really do want to play it next turn with the Elemental Allies in play.
I think if Alutemu were in a position where he didn't have any more chance to get on board and race Posesi, then I would lean towards Ice Barrier. But I think this is a golden opportunity to try to get the Giant down as soon as possible and maybe counter push against Posesi.
I love this pick so much.
Like, not obvious for sure.
Yeah, you never pass up Ice Barrier in this matchup. It's the forbidden play, and yet it was probably just correct here.
Bit rough that he picks up another Elemental Allies, but Frostbolt is not to be underestimated in this matchup. That can go face. That could be the Ice Barrier for Alutemu in a cheaper form.
Very, very true. Frost Nova as well for all these pesky stealth minions that are likely to be running around.
I wonder.
That's going to start with the swing face, so the cutting class goes down to 0. I think it's almost always going face. Because it's more damage than the Sneaky Delinquent. Like, usually you'd rather try and protect your minions so that they can sometimes get multiple damage in, but you have to assume against Tempo Mage that as soon as something is unstealth, it's getting removed or frozen every single time.
Right.
So that can be the one he uses to trade up.
Very forceful development onto the board here, though, for Posesi. He gets to keep the damage going face and clear off the Apprentice, very importantly.
Oh man, he has the activation on the side quest, but no Apprentice? Is that even good enough?
I think you just play it. Take your 3 spells.
I wonder.
Okay. Problem is the 3 spells don't cheapen the mana giant, at least on the first half of them. Maybe you pick up Magic Trick or Primordial Studies. My priority is how can you get the giant down alongside Frostbolt in the near future?
That's fair. That's fair.
Or if not Frostbolt, then Frost Nova.
Oh my god, he gets
bolt!
another one. That's huge.
And so this other allies was generated so you can get giant down to 4, but it's still not cheap enough for it to be played with Punch the next turn.
Yeah, I think you just take the Primordial Studies here for the chance of Lab Partner.
Yeah.
What to do?
We can piece this together for Alutemu across a couple turns. If it's like next turn is Frost Nova plus the spell damage minion, and then you go for Giant Punch. A lot of powerful things, but I don't feel like he has the time.
I think upon closer inspection, I think Alutemu found the line here because now he can go Frost Nova Giant on the following turn, and then just go for Conjurer's Calling Frostbolt on the turn after, probably instead. It's possible that the Giant gets cleared, of course, but I think it's probably his best chance at surviving.
That's a very good point. If it's not just lethal through the weapons this turn, which is,
Sure.
not all that likely. I mean, by next turn, because you're expecting 5+6. Then if Posesi wants to deal with the giant with his board frozen, he's likely to have to commit the weapon or get the sap. Oh, sorry, he's not even running sap in this.
Well, then the Giant feels pretty likely to stick, I would say.
Huh? Oh, it's getting very scary though. Second Passage, second Sword, Eviscerate, all in Posesi's hand right now. I mean, you were talking about the line last turn. I think he sticks to that game plan.
I do think so, yeah. I'm looking if there's any way he can go for, like, Frostbolt Icicle on this turn instead, and he can still get down the Giant if he goes for that line. I'm just wondering if that's actually any better. I think his best chance might just be to go Giant Frost Nova this turn. It's not pushing lethal though, is it? And it's not really clearing board.
I think the other consideration is if you go Devolving Missiles, Frostbolt face Giant, because sometimes you remove, almost all the damage on the board.
Yeah.
Both of them are really close.
It's been such a weird, complicated game for Alutemu.
It really is. I would still lean towards the Nova. Okay. He's going for the line you were talking about. It leaves 2 damage available for Posesi this turn. Sorry, 3.
This does, technically as well, stop more damage, right? If you're afraid of just dying in the next couple of turns, it's 3 damage versus 6 minimum.
That's very true.
And
freezing the face has a compounding effect because it means it's like their whole clock is delayed by 1 turn.
Yeah.
Give them 1 less swing. Oh, Hogger.
Ooh. That's pretty brutal, actually. A taunt is a very big deal here.
It messes with Alutemu's counter-lethal attempt.
That's actually a disaster, because Alutemu's plan here was quite clearly to set up Frost Nova Conjurer's Calling on this turn and just try and cheese out the win.
I mean, it's still the plan, and there's still chances for Rush Minion / Walking Fountain. But Coil Fang for the Rush is a huge deal as well, and the Troublemaker has chances of hitting, the 3-1?
Right. So
at this
6
point,
damage.
You'd rather it go face. Yeah.
6 on the weapon. A deadly poison away from simply winning the game here is Posesi.
But he has to combo out the Eviscerate first, so you don't start with the Passage.
No, you start with Draconic.
He still has mana to eventually pick up Deadly Poison. He is not running Volpera Scoundrels. That's a very big deal. sorry, Toxin Blades. He has the
Right.
Miscreants instead of those, so it is looking like just Deadly Poison or the other Eviscerate.
Oh, he's going for it. This
He
is
has
an
to.
all-in push. It's the only way. Praying here. Surely he's deserving of a win now.
There
Oh!
it is! Second Eviscerate! Oh! There were 3 outs there. And he hit one of them. That game was extremely tense. In the end, I don't think the Hogger taunt ended up mattering, but
Right.
man, it was complicated for Alutemu to navigate the mid-game.
It really, really was. And I think he did such an admirable job there. He was, clearly had multiple turn plans at all points along the way. Like 2 turns ago when he played the Elemental Ally side quest for basically no value in and of itself instead of the Primordial Studies because it allowed him Giant on that turn. And then he still didn't go Frost Nova Giant because he realized he needed to go Conjurer's Calling plus Frost Nova on the following turn. Like it was thinking 2 or even 3 turns down the line in discrete mana breakdowns at all points along the way. And it's, I think, a game that Alutemu can definitely hold his head high, even though he did end up losing.
I have to agree. I think right from the beginning of choosing that side quest over the Ice Barrier, we could have seen an alternate world where if he picked Ice Barrier, then maybe he would have survived 1 turn longer than the game at that point, but he wouldn't have been threatening counter-lethal on the turn where Posesi had to go Passage to find only 3 possible outs there. I think Alutemu gave himself the best percentage, and I love to see that on both sides. There was a lot of hesitation, but not to the point of roping to make the most optimal decision.
Yep, nicely done indeed there. And now with, obviously, again, both of the Druids banned out of the way at the start, Rogue is done for Posesi, and the only real difference in the lineups is which mage they're going for. We just saw the Tempo Mage end up taking the loss for Alutemu. But I think as we may be seeing here, even though it's very different builds of the mage, it could be the weak point for both of these players, because now we're seeing a complete reversal of fortunes here, with Posesi on the Turtle Mage this time, and Alutemu on the Weapon Rogue. And you've got to imagine that this does, again, feel like a bit of a rough matchup for the mage, even with Posesi's weird build.
I would have to agree. I think that the weapons just being able to get online far earlier than the taunts can for the Turtle Mage on average makes a huge difference here. And even if Kartut Defender does hit the board... Oh, well, on second thought, Alutemu's list is also not running Saps. Instead, he's got quite a different build to Posesi's altogether with the double Ashtung Slayers.
Yeah, both of them have cut the Volpira Toxin Blade, so I imagine there was some discussion amongst the players as to how they want to build it, or at least maybe just, word spreading amongst the Japanese Hearthstone scene as to how you want to go about building it. But the overall hypothesis they've ended on has been very different, with double Ashtung Slayer for Alutemu and Captain Greenskin. This is a very high damage version of the deck, which should work out very well for him.
Yeah, I would assume so as well, but none of these opening cards look particularly strong to me. He ends up keeping the Sneaky Delinquent on coin. I think that's pretty amenable to do because he can just coin it out, and he's also running Ashtung Slayer, so that's a potential curve that Alutemu can get with his build that you might not see from other weapon rogues.
Well, I imagine you're probably wanting to start with Sphere O Sapience here. It's generally the case against pretty much every build of stealth/weapon rogue that the Spellwing really doesn't do much on turn 1 because they just play stealth minions instead.
I don't think there's a particularly huge upside for playing Sphere on 1. Unless you are looking for a specific 2-drop. But now that I think about it, Posesi's build does have the double Imprisoned Vile Fiend. So,
Yeah,
I might have actually leaned towards Sphere there.
Yeah, I think just getting the Vile Fiend, Solarian, Wand Maker, even Wand Thief, Spellwing, like, there's quite a few cards that you'd like to try and tutor towards there instead. But it's, like you said, it's very, very minor as to which one you go for first. And Posesi is still off to a reasonable start here. Imprisoned Observer on its own can just carry you away with the early game.
Spellwing is already super problematic for Alutemu. You can see he held off on the coin delinquent into delinquent curve just because he knows that if Posesi can kill off the Spellwing, then they both get very easily missiled down in most cases.
I do like here that Posesi was not kind of baited into going for the cute play of killing off the stealth here with ping plus missiles. You just want to get the observer down. It's way too powerful.
It is backbreaking. The majority of Alutemu's minions just die upon first contact with the dormant ability on this. And Alutemu has still not hit any weapons. His list is not running Hooked Scimitar, to be fair. It's just the double self-sharpening swords, but until those appear, I think Posesi is very firmly in the lead.
Definitely looks that way. Alutemu can't even really respond in any meaningful way against this, with everything being dormant on the other side. The best way to answer this being passage?
Yeah, I was going to say, it's not even a answer per se, but maybe you do just take the passage in order to fish for self-sharpening sword exactly. It is so weird to exchange your 10-card hand for a 4-card hand, but there is one card in particular that can make Alutemu's game plan so much more fluid.
Okay, so I guess the other thing to consider here is, yes, you want self-sharpening sword, absolutely, but can this hand ever get there with just upgrading the dagger? Like, you have double deadly poison, you have cutting class, Krastenov can upgrade it next turn. Like, it's a fair bit of damage that you'd be pushing forward here.
Definitely the more consistent line. And because the dagger lines up perfectly with cutting class, I think I like it.
It's the lower risk, lower payoff line, obviously, than the secret passage. But I guess when you're saying on average you're in a pretty good spot in the matchup, which I think is a fair assumption, you just want to get this damage swinging as soon as possible.
He's saving one charge on it for now, though. And Posesi has Cartot in hand. Full Celt. Oh my goodness.
Yeah. It's kind of funny just how it's like 10 seconds of stuff has to happen before you've even started your turn here with the Sphere of Sapiens and all the dormant stuff.
Start of turn mage.
Indeed.
Oh, the Krastenov is depressingly well matched
it's
against
so
these things.
Bad.
So bad.
It's so bad.
I wonder.
And so, does it become stealth minion development instead? You can try and just put all the stealths down and say you don't have Blizzard sometimes.
Yeah, it's Stealth City here for me. Rack 'em up.
I suppose one downside of running Deep Freeze in Posesi's list is that Polkelt does not guaranteed put Tortolan at the top of your deck. It does have one Deep Freeze in hand,
Of course.
but there's a 1 in 3 now that he top decks the other Deep Freeze instead of Tortolan. Doesn't matter in the near future because by the time he has 8 mana, he will have drawn 3 cards. That's a funny interaction.
Clearing out some hand space. Does look like on the following turn, Krastenov should be able to get the job done. Premium option there as well, for sure.
Start swinging because he does expect to Krastenov next turn.
Taking the new fate. I guess you want that in the deck, right?
Yeah. New Fate gets the Tortolan.
Oh man, it's close.
Not just Hearthstone here.
I was kind of looking at Blizzard there.
Oh, but the weapon damage, being able to hit face for another turn.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
So Alutemu was setting up for this Krastenov. Obviously, it hurts that you have to heal Posesi for 6, but there's simply no other way to go over the top even if he had both Eviscerates in hand plus this effective blast. That's only 13.
Yeah. We're going around this the old-fashioned way. Punching through here. Weapon damage going to face in this matchup. Always the way to go.
God, he can't even backstab the Kartut.
Indeed. Deliberately plays the bad stealth minion because Blizzard, I guess, is what he's afraid of.
It's the arcane missiles.
The arcane
that
missiles.
He knows is in hand, right?
Okay, fair, yeah.
At this point, it's really minute differences. I think Alutemu knows that now that the Pole Celt has been played and the arcane missiles is in hand, he's unlikely
Right.
to ever connect minion damage to the face again.
So if Posesi turns that down, he is guaranteed Kartut defender. So I actually love turning down the Tortollan Pilgrim there.
It is extremely backbreaking for Alutemu.
Or, sorry, I should say, it was 50% of the time Kartut. The other one was the other Blizzard, but I think it was absolutely worth it for the chance to get Kartut, and he is rewarded.
I agree. And I don't see the way out for Alutemu. He has not much generation in the deck whatsoever. He's not running the Miscreants in there. Okay, Greenskin is a good way to start. But he's just dying himself.
He's just gonna die. Like, Tortollan Pilgrim,
Yeah.
it's almost guaranteed to hit Sunreaver War Mage in the next couple of turns as well, let alone all the incredible healing that he's getting right now.
Yep. I mean, he's dead right now with just Blizzard King on the guy,
Oh yeah.
on the taunt, and then 11 phase.
He is just straight up dead. And that is a huge win here for Posesi. We were talking about the Tempo Mage, the Turtle Mage, both kind of suffering. And Posesi's got the win. This is a huge deal in terms of the Conquest lineup now. He's looking very, very favored to get his first win of round robin on the table.
I think Alutemu knew that if he hit the first half of Hearthstone that he was guaranteed dead next turn, but I don't mind him doing that because he had actually 0 outs in the game.
Yeah, I think as you said at the start, with no saps in the list, what are you going to do? You got to take what you can get, and that does now mean with Posesi having won both of the first matches here. Rogue out of the way, Mage out of the way, Druid banned. The only archetype left being the Demon Hunter for Posesi. I think this is going to be an incredibly uphill climb for Alutemu. The one really good matchup for him in the Druid has already been banned.
I agree. Alutemu's Mage is going to have a really tough time, and let alone having to contend in the Mirror. And as for Demon Hunter up against Weapon Rogue, I feel like that might be Alutemu's best shot of it, because the stealth minions are actually quite effective against Demon Hunter. A lot of the time, the 1 health minions for Demon Hunter, they would usually rather hero power them down. But for the Rogue perspective, if you're able to get in 2 attacks essentially because of them using that base tank to get rid of the minion, then the Rogue is far ahead.
Yes, yeah, for sure. It's definitely going to be a tough one. Taking a look at the specific builds, it's interesting to see the way that these players have clearly collaborated in some way with their very similar lineups, but have definitely deviated in the evolution of their archetypes as well. As Alutemu has that very signature build of the Demon Hunter that we were playing a fair bit and practicing with Altruist double Penflinger over the Glaive-bound Adepts, which a fair few times each Penflinger ended up being more than 4 damage over the course of a game when compared to a Glaive-bound Adept. So it's a cool build, and I hope that we do get to see it at some point if Alutemu gets a couple of wins in. But first of all, he's going to have to get a win with the Mage Gia up against the Demon Hunter. Not a good matchup.
Yeah, he's starting off with the worst one there because this is Conquest, and he keeps Apprentice again. Yay, Alutemu!
Oh.
Thank you.
We love you, looters. You're the best.
I can't believe we got so excited over this, but I've just seen... Well, it was somebody other than Alan that tossed it as well, I think. That, my entire understanding of Hearthstone has been turned on its head.
It has still, however, with Apprentice in hand, not looking great for Alutemu right off the bat. Posesi's got himself a dream starting hand here with plenty of board control at the start, plenty of damage as well with the Marrow Slicer, and even a bit of removal with Blade Dance. It doesn't get better than this.
And the 1-cost spell that he generated is pretty premium, even more minion development off the Demon Companion, and he can easily pair that with Chaos Strike to get rid of this Solarian. Because Demon Companion has a shot of giving you immediately more damage now, I like it better than Spirit Trooper.
Agreed, yeah. I think every outcome is just pretty good off Demon Companion here. Oh no, sorry.
It really is always Refa.
Yeah, by every outcome, I meant the one outcome is pretty good here for the Demon Companion.
Okay. Pretty painful, the opening turns for Alutemu, but there's potential to turn things around. Largely depends on the quality of the 1-cost spells he gets, and whether he top decks something along the lines of Evocation or Magic Trick on the next turn too.
Yeah, he's got to think very carefully about how slow he wants to play this because, you know, we're looking at the potential of Coin Wand Maker here to spend the rest of his mana. We're looking at Coin Ping to save health. We're looking at Tempo out the Mirror Image to save even more health. That obviously weakens the Apprentice Mana Cyclone line. Maybe it's just Coin Cyclone right here to get, like, maximum development plus a spell on board. Like, there's so many different ways to go about this.
Really tough, right? I mean, of all the lines, I think I like Coin Wand Maker the best. I think it's strictly better than Coin Ping because you do just replace the coin with a card that will cost 0 on the Apprentice turn.
Sure.
And if we're talking about saving damage, a fair amount of the time, the Ping reduces 2 attack, which might go into the Wand Maker at some point anyway.
Yeah, I guess that's what you're hoping for. I mean, I think you just say imagine trading and go face here.
Yeah. That's fair.
The attack with the weapon, though, is a bit more interesting because you have Blade Dance and Glavebound in hand, both of which kind of want an active weapon swing available. So I think you actually save the hit of the weapon here. Okay.
Yeah, Posesi agrees. Very disciplined play there. And he even does trade the Refa to make sure that if it is going to be the Apprentice pop-off turn, most of the time Alutemu ends up with 3 minions on board, easily cleared up by Blade.
I wonder.
Weird spot, though, because I think Alutemu, again here, is doing the multiple turn thinking ahead line here, because playing out Apprentice here doesn't generate you any extra spells. It just gets a 3-2 on board for no extra mana. But with the way this works out, you go double 1-cost spell plus Cyclone here. You can play the Mana Giant on 5, and then you can play Apprentice with the extra spells you got from the side quest on turn 6, which I think on average is definitely worth holding on to the Apprentice here. I really like this line from Alutemu.
Good spot. I did not see that. And the logic is definitely there. I guess the one consideration for having played everything was to go slightly wider against Blade Dance, but by that point you get super punished by Shard Shatter Mystic.
It was complicated for sure. Not a strict better or worse line, but I think Alutemu found a good middle ground.
And for Posesi, with double Blade Dance and Shard Shatter all available here, it's kind of difficult to pick which one you immediately get. I have to admit I was looking at Blade Dance just to save your 1-3 in hand. But it's less mana efficient, or 1-3 on board, but it's less mana efficient, and also the Blade Dances can deal more than 3 damage in the future.
And I think here when you're passing up the opportunity not only for a weapon swing, but for 1 damage on the hero power, again, I understand that Blade Dance, Glavebound both want a swing of the weapon, and I liked the save last turn. But here, you're passing up a damage, like, your game plan is still just kill them.
Thought so too. But he is being extremely disciplined with this. Holding on to both Blade Dance looks to me like Posesi is preparing himself for worst case scenario. He has straight up, with both these Blade Dances, an answer for Mana Giant Conjurer's Calling, which he did not expect to be the play this turn, given that Alutemu has not really discounted it that much. So what that tells me is that he's saving both charges on these for on the immediate follow-up turn, Hero Power Gravebound Adept into the double Blade Dance Giga Board clear turn.
Massive change of plan, though, with Posesi finding the Spellwing as a 1-mana activator for the side quest instead of the 5-mana Giant. Perfect. Throw that down, get the Apprentice online. Let's cheat some mana.
This is huge. Not able to go Giant Punch this turn, but next turn,
Yeah.
looking pretty insane.
Ray of Frost, pretty big. Oh my god, this is lightning! I've never seen Alutemu play like this.
New and improved looters. Love it. Oh, he drops the Giant right now.
It's a risk.
It absolutely is, especially since Posesi's been holding on to these Marrow Slice charges
Yeah.
like nobody's business. But crucially, he's put 4 minions on board, so it's not guaranteed that Blade Dance with Twin Slice kills this. I mean, the swing can kill it, or he can sink. It's close, right? Obviously, you want to sink 8 damage face, but you can potentially save yourself damage on the face if you wanted to not take a risk there.
Yeah. And here for Posesi, while this is one of the 2 bad outcomes, it's not the worst outcome. As long as Giant doesn't survive here, you can go face. But of course now Alutemu has another turn of mana cheating here. Whether or not it will even matter though is of course the question, because he's dying really fast. But Teacher's Pet is such a premium outcome to get off the Jandis here.
So huge, but Posesi held on to both charges of Marrow Slicer and 1 Blade Dance for this type of situation. It wasn't quite the Mana Giant pop-off, but it's similar in terms of the resulting board state. Oh my goodness.
Beautiful.
Blade Dance, I can't look! Where does it go?
Oh!
Teacher's Pet!
No! Oh my god! Alutemu flicks the thumbs up!
A disaster! But he's not completely out of the woods yet. Posesi still has Glavebound Hero Power,
Yeah.
many top decks, but that's another Jandis! Hello!
Oh my
The first one
God.
came off of Pond of Power. This can't be legal. That's a rush minion as well.
Yeah, no taunt this time, but I think you'll happily take this one.
Actually, you just Ray of Frost this and try and go for counter lethal instead.
Yes, I mean, I was definitely looking at here just rushing in the Crystal Stag and taking your Arcane Missiles, but this does keep the most power on board.
So he puts Posesi to 21 this turn, and then he'll have 13 on board. It's not quite a counter-lethal setup, but
Yeah.
it does mean, though, that if Posesi wants to get rid of the Crystal Stag, he uses a card or a hero power to deal with it. It's a big deal.
Yeah, if he wants to get rid
I
of
like this a lot.
either minion here, really, it's going to be very difficult to get through.
Okay, that's full mana expenditure for Posesi this turn.
But he just low-key has to guess on the Jandis, right? Which minion's the real one? Because he has to swing first.
Is he not just sending everything face?
I guess so. I guess so. But
I mean,
it doesn't even set up
it's not a
two-turn.
lethal setup. It's not. It's really tough.
Oh. Maybe you just
I
play
mean-
to the top deck. That's very
Yeah.
possibly your best chance.
Chaos Strike and Twin Slice are top decks for his lethal.
Marrow Slicer.
Just because Alutemu has more cards right now, I feel like it's difficult for Posesi to assume he can come back on board if he
Right.
just plays Glavebound Adept trade 1/4/4. And even in the best case scenario, Alutemu still just has the other 4/4 to kill it off. I think it has to go all face.
I agree. You've won me round. I think just playing to the out of the top deck is your best chance.
Oh my goodness.
Okay. You have trade. Obviously, this could be a Raz turn, but it could be a double Conjurer's Calling turn.
Yeah, I think the conj is on average gonna give you the best shot for lethal the next turn.
You could go for...
So you start with the crystal stag value trade and then double
Right.
conj.
Guess
It
this
looks
is
like he's going rolling fireball instead. This still sets up 2-turn.
Really? Okay. I mean, I was looking if you even go like missiles, Conjurer's Calling here, but fine. Like you said, the 2-turn lethal is set up. That's what matters.
I mean, I was also looking at conj to just potentially give you a taunt. That's
Either
a
way,
very
though,
big deal in this situation.
it all comes down to this, and I think I just saw Twin Slice off the top for Posesi. He played to that out, and finally, Posan gets the out, and he wins a series of Hearthstone in round robin. Look at the relief of this poor man.
Yeah, absolutely huge. It was not an easy decision to send everything to the dome last round, but I mean, he has remained on camera this time, if only his torso. And now, both Alutemu and Posesi are at 1-2 match score. Still not overall positive, but it's a huge deal for your momentum and your mental state. Each of them still have 4 matches left to be played out, so they can end up with positive match records after everything is said and done.
Yeah, like you said yesterday, or on when he played earlier this week, it was a very different story for Posesi. Losing that series was devastating for him. Both times, he's a bundle of nervous energy, whether he wins or loses. Can't even sit down for the few seconds that we need to get him on camera. Thanks, by the way, for that great shot. Because it's too much for him. He's too excited at getting the win. Because I think, we have varying degrees of players in terms of how much this means to them personally, their spot in Grandmasters. And I think Posesi ranks pretty high up on the list of what this means to him. Getting his spot here in Grandmasters, he had to fight and claw to get here, and he does not want to give it up without a fight.
I want to say for